morning. You're welcome to Me and You Family Life, when we always discuss about family. Family is everybody's business, and the mind of God concerning our family is that our marriage will succeed. This is Pastor Mrs. Grace Asemota, and anytime we come here, we're always discussing family issues. How can our family succeed? What do we do as a man, as a woman, to make sure that our family succeed? Because so many things are happening today that ought not to be. And that is what this program stands for. Coming to share thoughts with us about the mind of God concerning our marriage. What do we do? What is expected of me to do so that my marriage can succeed? So that God will be glorified in my marriage. The word of God makes us to understand the book of Amos chapter 3, verse 3. And look at the message. I'm going to read the message version of it. It said, do two people walk hand in hand if they are not going to the same place? In other words, can two walk together except they be in agreement? So if our marriage must succeed, God expects husband and wife to work together. And just as we always say in this place, myself and my husband, that husband and wife must be friends. Husband and wife must be friends, because that is the only way you can work together as couples. If in your relationship, if two of you work together and then you now get married, once you get married, that relationship, that friendship must continue. So that the both of you begin to work together, you'll be a team player so that you can be successful in your marriage. Marriage is ordained by God, and God expects us to be able to enjoy it to the fullness. And so this day we'll be looking at healthy marriage. What are the things we expect in a healthy marriage? One of them we just read in Amos chapter, two of you must agree. You must work together. Yes, there's a place for disagreement, but you disagree to agree in marriage if your marriage must succeed. Because nobody have the monopoly of knowledge. There are some things you know as a woman and your husband, and there are some things the man knows that the woman. So both of you must be ready to work together, cooperate, so that you can be able to have a healthy marriage. Okay, so what are those things we expect from a healthy marriage? One, marriage is a place where you encourage one another to bring out the best. So when husband and wife, when you get married, you remember the other time we were talking about stages of marriage. We'll talk about stages of marriage. And in those stages of marriage, it's expected that husband and wife must be able to encourage one another to bring out the best. We have different temperaments. We are not the same. We are not from the same background. We are not from the same parents. But marriage is one that brings us together. And then we are now one. And as we are one, we need to encourage one another to bring out the best. There are some things you are seeing in your husband or in your wife and you are not comfortable with. You should be able to encourage that person to bring out the best aspect of the person. Not always condemning the person. You are always doing this. So that is not what marriage stands for. You might be educated and your wife is not educated. So how do you bring your wife to that level of this, or the standard you want? Is by understanding. And if you are a woman, you must be ready to learn for one another. Whatsoever I'm doing today, myself and my husband, we used to do this program together. But he is also somewhere, doing exactly what I'm doing now. So you discover that is what he has brought out of me. That, I cannot be able to come and teach. But you discover that if I'm not learning from him, because he happened to be my mentor, if I'm not learning from him, we are not encouraging one another, you discover that I'll be left behind. So if you are a woman, you are there, and your husband is trying to, encourage you to bring out the best in you, don't just remain in one place. This is how I am. This is how you met me. And you leave me the way I am. No. Be ready to learn from one another. Because that is the only way you can enjoy your marriage. Sometimes some people, you complain that, my wife don't like going out with me. My husband, don't like carrying me out. What are those things that your husband is seeing in you, or your wife is seeing you and is saying, these things ought not to be? Or there's a way you talk, or there's a way you behave, or there's an attitude you put up that your husband or your wife is not comfortable. What do? You learn. Encourage that person. You can do it. I remember when we got married, I was not like this. I hardly can face the audience. I hardly can face the crowd. And of course, my husband happened to be a pastor. So am I going to just stay at the background and so, okay, after all, you know, that is not what I'm called to do. I should be at, no. He started encouraging me. I remember the first day, you know, he asked me to address the crowd. Yes, I'm a teacher by profession. You know, going to the class, you teach. It's different from when you want to stand and you want to minister to people. I remember when he said, okay, so first of all, I'm your candidate now, so minister to me. And we stood there, and I started talking, and after the end, so you can do it. Why not like this? Why not like? And that's how we started gradually. And the best in me began to come outside. The best in me began to come outside. So as a woman, as a man, encourage one another to bring out the best. Don't always condemn your partner. Even when he make mistake, don't condemn, oh, you did well, I think you can do better. You see, the best of your wife will come outside. Even when she cooks, or maybe the food, you discover that, oh, the food, there's something, a little thing, it's not just to your taste or the way you want it. There's a way. Maybe you know how to do it. There's a way. My wife, when you do this, I believe that it can come out more tasty or the way you would like it. That is how to encourage one another, not bringing ourselves down, because that is what is destroying marriage today. Husband and wife not working together, not ready to learn from your partner or from your husband or from your wife. If two of you will work together, I assure you, your marriage will succeed. Your marriage will be healthy. Forget about what we are hearing today. Oh, marriage is this, marriage is that. It's not all about negative. It's all about both of you just understanding yourself and know the reason why you are in that marriage. Why did you come to that marriage? When you are able to define that, I tell you, your marriage will succeed. And then the second thing we look at for you to have a healthy marriage. Marriage is a place for learning for one another while you don't graduate. It's a marriage where you never graduate. It's not like a formal school where you go to school and then you are educated and then you are given a certificate. In marriage, nobody graduates. You will not say, oh, yes, I've done this, I've done that, then a certificate will be given. No. Every day, we upgrade ourselves. Every day. I've been married now for 25 years, but I'm still, trying to know my husband. There are some things I will see him as, oh, I thought I know my husband. I think so every day things reveal, because marriage actually reveals who we are on a daily basis. Every stages you get to, you begin to see so many things begin to unveil. And as you unveil, you begin to learn. Be in the knowing of your partner. Know your partner. Know your wife. Know your husband. On a daily basis, as things begin to unfold, that is how you begin to know yourself and begin to get better. And begin to love yourself the more. Not the issue of killing ourselves or destroying ourselves, what we are seeing today. That is not what God stands for. God expects us to be the best in our marriage, as a man, as a woman. And you as a woman, you must be able to know what is your position in your husband's house. You are a helpmeet to him. You are there to be able to support him. And you, the husband, why do you marry that woman? Why do you have to leave every other person and pick that woman? There is something you see in her that make you pick her, and you must keep that thing. You must continue to love your wife. Correct your wife in love. Many people, you see the way they address their wife in the public, in the open places, even in the inside, even in presence of your children. We just finished a program that, we actually attended, and a big thank you to those of you that actually attended the program. You see, there were so many people that came for counseling, and some of them were their husband addressing them in presence of their children. Your wife can never learn like that. When you try to correct your wife in presence of your children, or you try to correct your husband in presence of your children or strangers or colleagues or neighbor, that person can never learn from you. There's a better way to correct somebody, and the person will, oh, thank you. My husband normally do it a lot. Sometimes maybe there are some things I will just do, he will not talk. By the time we are inside, I say, look at this aspect, this what and what with that. I say, oh, okay, thank you. I didn't know that is how I should do it. I've learned. I've improved. So next time, I will not make that same mistake again. So don't think that, oh, my wife should know. Some people say, my wife is supposed to know. For the fact that she's an adult or she's 50 years or does not mean that she should know. Every day we keep learning from one another. That is the only way we can get better as couples. Correct in love. Don't shout on your wife, because that is one thing that most women doesn't like. That some men do, with due respect to men. You shout at your wife. When you shout at a wife, you make her to lose her value. You make her to look who she actually, supposed to be. Correct the person in law, because in marriage, nobody graduates. Nobody will give you certificates in your marriage. And then the third thing, for us to enjoy a healthy marriage, marriage is a union of two people who may sacrifice to understand their differences. We are all different, and that is why you have to know your wife's temperament. You have to know your husband's temperament. We are not of the same temperament. There are some women, they are introverts. Some are extroverts. The same thing with a man. You must be able to know, what is my wife's temperament? So it is only when you know the temperament, you'll be able to know your differences. There is no two individuals that are the same. Even if they are twins, they must be different in their character, in their attitude, in their behavior, in the way that they do things. But our life, we must be able to know that God brought me to this man. I might be the one that, like for instance now, I'm a sanguine, and I know that my husband is a choleric. So as we begin to move together, and by the time, at the initial time, I didn't quite, there were so many things I did not quite understand, because I was different from my husband. But when I have an encounter with this book, Why You Act the Way You Do, wow. After reading that book, that is why I want to advise you as couple. Please spend time to read books. Because some of those problems that you are going through in your marriage, or some things you are observing your wife and your husband, you can find it that somebody have gone through it and he has put it in a book. And you just going through it, it will actually help you, it will deliver you. Let me tell us, when I got married, pregnancy was not forthcoming. But one day, and I was always going with my husband, so I was now his personal PA. We go together, we study together, we read together. Then one of these days, because he will always give me time to go and do, and after that we'll come together and we'll start looking into it. Both the Bible, books, he will get book, we'll read together, and we'll explain, and they'll be able, that is how he was grooming me, and two of us, was going like that. It was one of these a Bible verse I encountered in the Bible that actually bring about deliverance to making me know that I was being worried, and that is why I was not getting pregnant when I married on time. And that is Philippians chapter 4. Philippians chapter 4 from verse 6 to verse 8. He actually answered my questions. The actions about nothing. In everything by prayer and supplication, make your requests made known unto God. Is there anything good? Is there anything lovely? Is there anything of good? He said, think on these things. Wow, I got my deliverance. I got my healing. And I shouted. And my husband was saying, oh, what happened? I said, I've gotten my deliverance. I think I'm being worried. I'm being anxious about this pregnancy. And that is why it's not your forthcoming. And that was the end. And let me shock you. The other month, after that period, the other month, and that is why I got pregnant. And then I started having my children. You might be out there. Maybe you are worried. You are anxious. Things are not working. God have the answer. God have the solution to whatsoever you are going through. So you discover that both of us working together help me to actually get, my deliverance, because we are not the same. We are not the same. So husband and wife, two of you are not the same. Your differences, you are different. So it is only when both of you work together and ready to make sacrifice that you understand your difference in your marriage. And that is how today God is helping us to live the life that God expects us to live, for us to have a healthy marriage. Having a healthy marriage does not mean that there will be no challenge, there will be no some issues or crisis. But when it comes, you see, there's a divine wisdom from God that will help you to go out of that situation. And then the next thing that you see in a healthy marriage, for you to have a healthy marriage, marriage is a place of mutual respect and trust for one another. We always say in this program that trust is not the gift of the Spirit. Trust is earned per time. Husband and wife must learn to trust themselves. You discover that many couples don't trust themselves. And that is why your marriage will be having a lot of crisis, conflict in your home. Because marriage, if your marriage must succeed, 99% depend on trust. We must learn to trust one another. stop suspecting your wife, your husband on a daily basis. You go out, everything you're after, oh, where is he now? What happened? This one. It will just make you to have BP or have high blood pressure. So it's very important that husband and wife must learn to trust themselves. Trust and obey. That is the only other way. There is no other way to be happy in your marriage. If you don't trust and you don't obey the word of God concerning your life and your marriage, I tell you, there's no way you can be happy in your marriage. There's no way you can have a healthy marriage. So learn to trust one another. Oh, I'm here now. My husband is even out of the town doing what God have asked him to do. I should be able to trust him that he's doing exactly what he's doing. The day I start suspecting my husband, that day my marriage start dying. Then the love for both of us will start fading away. So husband and wife must learn to trust her. If your husband comes back and say, okay, this is what caused me to delay, why I did not come on time. Believe him. The Bible says, love, believe all things. Love, believe all things. Believe him. Don't say, am I sure you are saying the truth? When you start suspecting your partner, you start having issue. Commit it into the hands of God. My husband travels a lot. And most times as he's traveling, the only thing I ask for him is to just commit him into the hands of God. God, this is your son, he's out again. Protect him, guide him, lead him, help him to do what you have asked him to do. Because the truth is that you cannot live your life and also live the life of your husband or live the life of your wife. And there are some men, you call your wife will tell you this is where you are. It's okay. Who is there? Who is with you? Maybe he said he went to go and see a relation or he went to go and see a friend. It's okay. Give the phone to him. Let me be very sure. You are killing your marriage. When you are that type of person, there is no way your marriage will be healthy. There is no way your marriage will not have conflict on a daily basis just because of lack of trust. Lack of trust have actually destroyed a lot of marriage. Learn to trust your partner. Learn to trust your husband, your wife. That is the only way you can enjoy your marriage. You know, some people say, because you have done it, because you are not God, you are not the Holy Spirit. Commit into the hands of God. Allow God to change him, because even as human, we cannot change anybody. It is only God that can change your husband or change your wife if there is anything you are seeing in him that you are not comfortable with. Just hand over him to God. God, please take charge. Because the Bible says the heart of a king is in the hands of God. So God is one that turned the heart around. So if there's anything you are not comfortable with, it's for you to pray, God, this aspect about my wife, about my husband. Please, because that is the only way the change will come. And then correcting in love, be ready to learn from one another and begin to see your marriage healthy. And another aspect is respecting one another. Mutual respect is very, very important in marriage. Some men don't know how to respect their wife. You talk to your wife anyhow, you make her feel as if she's not important. You beat your wife. When you beat your wife or you slap your wife, in fact, you are disrespecting your wife. And anytime you actually beat your wife, you're actually beating yourself. You are disgracing yourself. When you disgrace your wife outside, some men go to the extent of beating your wife, you know, getting her naked in the public. You are actually bringing that shame to you because why? She's answering your name. She's Mrs. So and so. So you're actually bringing disgrace to yourself. The same thing with a woman. Anytime you run down your husband or you disrespect your husband, you know, you talk to your husband anyhow. You don't give him that, you know, that due respect that is due unto him. You disobey him, you do anything that you want to do. There is no way you can have a healthy marriage. And anytime you do that to him, you're also doing it to yourself. Because the Bible says two of you are one. Yes, physically she might feel the pains. Physically might feel insulted, but you are actually also insulting yourself. Because whatsoever you do to your partner, you are also doing it to you. Either good or bad. You are doing it to yourself. So as husband and wife, me and you family life is all about repairing our home, molding our family for the better. Because that is the mind of God. So no matter what your wife will do to you or your husband will do to you, never slap your husband. I know that the generation that we are now, I'm not ready to take nonsense. I'm not ready to take that rubbish for him. Please. If you are not ready to take that rubbish or whatsoever you call it, then don't marry. Because when you marry, you are going to see some things that you are not comfortable with. And every day, are you not going to be fighting? Every day, are you not going to be disgracing yourself because you are not ready to take the rubbish? Until you are ready to take whatsoever you call it. If you say it's rubbish, it becomes a rubbish. Then your marriage will not succeed. So be ready to respect your husband, because some people bring some of this mentality to the marriage. What happened in your parents' life, or what you see in the life of your parents. Oh, my father did not respect my mother. He was always dealing. So because when I get married, I'm going to make sure I give it back to the man. Don't marry to come and do revenge for your mother or for your father. Just have your marriage, enjoy your marriage, study your partner, and then be able to know how best you can be able to make that marriage successful. Because many marriages are destroyed today just because of this art. I'm not ready to take this rubbish. I'm not ready to take this nonsense. And because of that, you marry, you are not ready to respect your husband. At any little thing your husband say, you slapped your husband. It's an abomination for a woman for you to slap your husband. It's an abomination. It's not right. Because your husband is your king. And then you are the queen. And also the same thing with the man. It is not right for you to lay hands on the wife. Anytime you beat your wife, you're actually beating yourself. You're actually disgracing yourself. And people around begin to see you as irresponsible. It's a man that is not responsible that beat the wife, that molests the wife. It's a woman that is not responsible that disgrace the husband in the public or slap your husband in the public. There's a couple we know. And the day the man was relating this issue to us, we felt so bad. He said at any little thing, as he's just talking to the wife, at any little disagreement, the wife will slapped him, the first slap, the second, sometimes 3 slaps. He will just stand, he will just be looking at the woman. Because why? The woman is angry. If you have temper issue, ask God to help you. Because the word of God says, He said, anger lies in the bosom of a fool. And I believe that you are not a fool. So when you are angry, be angry and sin not. That is what the word of God makes us to understand. Don't be so angry to the extent of slapping your husband or slapping your wife. And some of you even do it in presence of people. When people are there, you molest your wife, you molest your husband. Please, I want to beg you. When you are angry, look for a better way to handle that issue. That is the only way you can learn to respect your wife. Respect your husband. Respect your husband is very, very important. You know, most time we are talking like, oh, mommy, you people are old school. My husband will always say there's nothing like old school. You only have new students. Just as school is resuming now, you are having new students in admission. But there's nothing like old school. But whatsoever we are seeing today, our parents went through it. And we are going through it. And when we are gone, our children will still go through it. But the way you handle it is what matters, whether your marriage will stay or your marriage will scatter. But we must know that the mind of God is that our marriage should stay to the end, because that is the vow that we actually make. Today, many people are going into marriage. You are making a vow, until death do me part. So when you make that vow, you enter that marriage, be ready to make sacrifice to keep that marriage to the end. And I know that God will give you grace. You give you grace to be able to hold on to the end, so we can be role model to our children, to our generation, and our society will get better. Because when we get it right in our marital life, then the society and the country at large will get better. And then which other thing do we need to see for a healthy marriage? Our marriage is not a place to stand up for your rights. Be flexible and not rigid. You want to have a healthy marriage, then you must be flexible. There are some people that are too rigid. You stand for something, you are not ready to compromise. In marriage, you must be ready to compromise. Oh. You must be ready to let go. You know that your wife is the one that takes her time to dress up. She takes time, to rub the cream, wear the dress. She takes her time. And you are the type that just, you are up, you go. Please be ready to compromise a little bit. Because when you are not ready, when you are too rigid, okay, if you are not done like this, off I go. Every day you are going to keep leaving your wife behind. And maybe there's a function that is very important that you have to be there with your wife, or something that what you do is to be able to tell her on time. Let her get the same thing with the man as is applicable to, there are some men that can take 2 hours in the bedroom scrubbing and bathing, and then if you are the woman, your own is that you want to make sure this. You must be ready to compromise. You must be ready to be flexible a little bit. Don't just be so rigid and say this is how it's supposed and that is it. If it's not like that, nothing happened. For God's sake, you are not married to a robot. You are married to a partner that both of you are supposed to be one, working together as couples. So it's very, very important that if our marriage must be healthy, is a place where we have to stand, we must not have to stand for our rights. It's a place where you have to be flexible and not be too rigid. Don't stand for your right. What I say in this house, stand. And your partner is not comfortable with that. Why not compromise a little bit? Why not see how you can carry your partner along? Because that is what is destroying a lot of marriage today. You are a man, you feel that you can run alone. You can run alone. No. You must be able to run with your wife. Both of you are in a race together. You know, when my husband traveled once at a time, somebody told him and said, you know, he asked the person, why are you succeeding and the way you are doing things? He said, the truth is that when I take one step up, I allow my wife to fit into that other step. I try to carry her along because it's easier for somebody that is down to drag you that is up, down. So that is why as husband and wife, carry your wife along. Don't try to stand on your right and say, that is all. Is either this or never. It has destroyed a lot of money. And then the woman will say, okay, no problem. Is that okay? And before you know what's happening, things will be getting spoiled. You say, is that not how you want it? Okay, no problem. Be flexible a little bit. Carry your partner along. Don't always stand for your right. Stand for a place where both of you understand that this is what is supposed to be. You disagree to agree in marriage so that you can be able to move forward. Okay, don't go away. We won't be right back. And when we come back, we won't continue for what we are talking about, heading marriage. What marriage expects of us. This is still Pastor Mrs. Grace Asemuta. Don't go away. We'll be right back. God bless you.
Let's rock and roll. King Kong, kick the drum, rolling on like a rolling stone.
Sing song when I'm walking home, jump up to the top, run. Ding dong, call me on my phone, ask tea and a game of ping pong.
Hey, this is getting heavy. Can you hear the bass boom? I'm ready. Life is sweet as honey. Yeah, this beat cha-ching like money.
Disco overload, I'm into that, I'm good to go. I'm diamond, you know I glow.
Cause I'm up high in the stars tonight.
Okay, you're welcome back. This is still Me and You Family Life with Pastor Grace Asemuta. We are talking about healthy marriage or healthy relationship. What is expected from us as husband and wife. And then another thing that we need to look at for you to have a healthy marriage as husband and wife is the next one, the fifth one that we are talking about. Don't let issue linger don't let issue linger for so long. Deal with them as soon as they come up. Remember, not all marriages are perfect. Wow. When there's issue in your marriage, because as for husband and wife, there will be issues. There will be at times where both of you, you have disagreement, you quarrel, because two of you are different. Just as I've talked about before, we are two individuals that have come to marry. It doesn't matter how many years you have married. It doesn't matter how long you have stayed. You might have even stayed 20 years in marriage. There are times there will be issues. So when the issue comes up, what do? Learn to settle it immediately. You see some people, they allow the issue to linger for so long. 1 year, 2 years, and before you know what's happening, the enemy will comes in and begin to bring hatred and bitterness in your heart against your husband and against your wife. And at the end, that is what lead to divorce, lead to separation, because why? It was not tackled immediately. The Bible makes us to understand. It says, do not allow the sun to go down upon your anger. Settle your differences immediately. Because why? You want to have peace in your marriage. You want to have peace in your marriage. What do you gain in keeping malice or staying away for your husband? The truth is that it's just like me now. Myself and my husband, both of us, we are friends and we work together. I can't imagine myself staying away 1 week, 2 weeks without my husband, except he's out of the country. But you see, some people, a little issue, instead of you, yes, as human, will feel bad at times. When your partner will hurt you or do something that you don't like. Yes, you feel bad. But when you feel bad, but what do? You learn to settle your differences very fast. Because if you don't settle it, as individuals keep staying apart, the enemy will keep suggesting so many things. What is not? Start bringing it to your brain, to your mind. You start thinking evil about your wife or about your husband or what to do. So when there is issue, what do? And at the same time, you will not say because you are not the one that wronged him. If you want peace in your home, call for the settlement. And I want to beg the men, please, God has put the responsibility in your hand as the head of the family. Don't say because you are so angry, you are so bitter, and you are not ready to, call for settlement. Because you want peace in your home, call your wife. And the same thing as if you are a wife there, and something has happened in your home, and your husband call you and say, don't say, no, I'm not ready for those ones now. If you are not ready, I tell you, when you keep it for so long, when the devil starts ministering so many things to our heart, at the end, you discover that that settlement will not come. So once there is issue, sit down. He's not your enemy. Your husband is not your enemy. Your wife is not your enemy, as we keep saying. Both of you were friends. How you were relating in your courtship, your relationship, once you get married, it should continue. So you settle. And then sit down. I didn't like this. I didn't like that. I didn't like this. I didn't like. You bring those issues out. You'll just be surprised that your partner did not even know that those things were hurting you. There are some, they will not talk about it. There is issue. Your husband will come and meet you. What is it? Say nothing. Your wife will come and meet you. He say nothing. For God's sake. And yet you are not talking to the person. You are not sitting down, discussing the way you used to do. He say nothing. What do you expect that person to do? Please, we are begging you, as husband and wife, learn to settle your differences amicably, as fast as soon as possible. Because by the time you start living it, before you know it, you get to the family, before you know what is happening, to get to society, and at the end, it might even lead to separation. Settle your difference. I cannot sit down here and tell you, oh, there is no issue, there will be issues. When there is issue, how do you settle it? I remember one certain time when there was issue between my mother and my mother-in-law. And what do my husband do? I did not take it, oh, why will you? It got to that extent where my mother-in-law will have to go and physically, engage my mother. But I didn't allow that one to not be the one to not destroy my marriage. Both of us just look into it and say, these two people, what are they up to? How they let them not go and destroy our marriage. Or what do two of us, we sat down and say, what do we do? And my husband said, okay, there's no problem. I will address this issue. He needed to now travel home and see how you can settle the differences. But you see, those issues did not have to affect our marriage. But those are some issues that have torn so many marriages apart. Oh, your mother did this, your mother did that. No, I'm not going to take it. It's because of you. It's because of this. Then at the end, it will even destroy their marriage. They will not talk about it. They will not settle it. And at the end, the woman will say, okay, my daughter will not marry you again, or my husband or my son will not marry you again. What did my husband do? By the wisdom of God, he went there and addressed both of them and said both of them should leave us alone. And what actually was the problem? My mother-in-law felt that, oh, myself and my husband, why are we not quarreling? Why are we not having issue? And no, all those things, because maybe what they went through in their home. And my mother too have once told my husband, if I do anything, he should discipline me, he should do this, he should do that. You know? And of course, both of us, we make up our mind that our marriage will succeed, irrespective of what comes from our home, because we are from a broken home. And we are not going to follow their footsteps because we have God that will be able to help us to make sure that our marriage works out. And what did my husband do? He traveled down to go and meet the two people, carry the mother to inside the car. He said, where are we going? He said, don't worry, we are going somewhere. That's why you need wisdom as a man. You need wisdom. You must be a salesman in your marriage. It's not everything your wife do. Some of you go on, my wife is this, my wife is that. And at the end, you are destroying your marriage. You are bringing your wife down in presence of your family member. The woman too, you are bringing your husband down in front of. You are actually bringing down yourself. You are actually disgracing yourself. So for peace to reign in your home, for you to have a healthy home, settle whatsoever differences that come to you, either between both of you or that is caused by an extended family or even a friend. Don't allow it to affect your marriage to the extent of staying so many years, so many months, so many weeks without not settling. And it took my mother-in-law to my mother's house. My mother was not at home because my mother, I'm in your house, so he didn't even know that. And when both of them, the two women came, they were looking at themselves, and my husband said, see, both of you, leave us alone. Leave us to succeed in our marriage. And that was the end. And two of them settled their differences. But if it's some people, it would have said, oh, why will you talk to my mother like that? Why with this? And at the end, they will not talk to each other. They will not settle their issues. And you have given place to the devil. The Bible says, give no place to the devil in your marriage, no matter what. It's very, very important. And another thing again, for you to have a healthy marriage, is for both of you to tackle your challenges experience as a team. You have challenge. Both of you should tackle it as a team player. What do I mean? Your wife been married for so many years and no issue. There's no child forthcoming. Don't look at your wife and say, oh, you are the reason why we are not having children. So it's because of what you have done. You have done this, you have done that. That is why we are not having children. No, it's for two of you to tackle it alone. What is actually the problem? What is wrong? Why are we married? Because I've seen cases where both of them marry as virgin, but yet there's no child. But the Bible makes us to understand in everything we should give thanks to God. But at the same time, the Bible says in the book of Exodus that there is none shall be buried. So in other words, if God says none shall be buried, then there's a better way. There's something that God has done, has put in place for us to actually bring forth as husband and wife. So what do? Two of you should tackle that challenge together. First of all, meet a physician, check, is there anything wrong with my system? Is there anything, what is the problem? And from there, because it's two of you that is doing it together, you will get the solution together. You will solve the problem together. And at the end, there will be joy. But what do we see? Sometimes you see the man say, oh, it's because of the rough life that you live. The Bible says, if any man be in Christ, is a new creature, all things shall pass away. You don't need to depend on the past. You don't need to start dwelling on the past. Look for a better way. How do I get out of this situation? Both of you tackle the situation together. Solve the problems together as a team. You know, many of us that are fans of football, you see when people are playing ball in the field, the team, they work together, they work hand in hand to make sure they achieve. The whole extent is that when there is a goal, whoever scored the goal, what happened? All of us, we are all winners. It's not one person. We are all winners. So, and at the end, you discover that the team is happy because we won together. We got the victory together. We got the cause. So the same thing in marriage. When there is challenges, like the instance of you get married, there is no child, two of you should tackle it together. Meet a physician, know what is happening. If the problem is from the man, if the problem is from the woman, two of you work together. Two of you work together. Don't start saying, can you see now, the problem is for you, and I've been married all these years, and this is that. Two of you tackle it together, because there is a way out. There is a way out. Two of you can actually solve that problem together. Or your husband is having a health challenge. Two of you, let it be a part of you. Your wife is having some health challenge. Some men, they will just leave their wife. The woman tackle it alone. I remember one incident of a couple that came to meet us. It was in our counseling table that the man got to know that the wife was having heart disease. Because why, the woman said the man never cares. Most times she's not feeling fine, or is after, oh, I want to have sex with you. You always say you are tired. You always say this. You always that. Because why, the man never cares. If the woman is sick, he does not care. Everything was after his career, was after his business. You know that as well. The woman, you are with a woman in the house. You see that, oh, early in the morning, what she used to do before, she's not doing it. It's for you to be concerned. It's for you to, what is wrong with you? What happened? Why are you like this? This is not, why are you like, and then the woman will explain to you. Don't be so carried away with your business or with your career, and then you leave your partner. The same thing with the woman. The man is going through some health challenges. You are not there for him. And then at the end, when he dies, you want to cry. So if you were just there for him when he's alive, both of you work together, you know that, yes, at least you have done your best. Because sometimes when people are sick, they become weak, that even to pray for themselves becomes a problem. Then you are there for two of you to now join hands together and encourage one another. This thing is not unto death. Is that God will be glorified. Just as Jesus told Mary and Martha, the death of their brother is not unto death, is that God might be glorified. The disciples said, oh, why is this thing happening? Say that God might be glorified. So whatever you are going through in your marriage, I don't care what you are going through in your marriage, but I want you to know that is that God might be glorified. But the both of you must be ready to work together. Must be ready to tackle that situation together. Don't leave that problem for your wife. Don't leave that problem to your husband alone. When two of you tackle it together, you have the result together, you have the success together, and both of you will be happy together. Because that is the mind of God. That is how you can have a healthy, relationship. And when that woman came that day, she brought the H3 test, she brought everything, and the man said, I never knew. And the woman said, yes, because you didn't care. You were not concerned about me. You were just after your job, going after women, doing all kinds of things, and I have to settle it myself. And that woman was having a heart disease that made her, even to sleep with the husband was an issue. But both of them would have been able to sort it together. So as husband and wife, don't allow the challenges you are going through to be handled by one part, because two of you are one. When two of you work together, you have a better result. And then the next thing that we have to look at before we call it a day is for husband and wife to know that no matter what you are going through, our marriage is a place where we appreciate God for our life. We want to have a healthy, appreciate one another for what God has done in your marriage. Every day I thank God for my husband. I thank God for the type of husband that God has given to me. The little thing that he's able to do, I appreciate God for his life. Learn to appreciate one another. Learn to thank God. Father, thank you. This is where we are yesterday, but this is where we are today. You have actually done a great thing in our life, and we are grateful unto you. Learn to appreciate one another, no matter what. You might be staying in one room today. You might be staying in a flat, but I assure you, tomorrow can get better. Tomorrow can get better. Appreciate God for the little thing that your wife is doing, that your husband is doing. Don't say, oh, what have you done that people have not done? He has done something. Because the thing he actually did, there are some people that have not done it. Every day, I appreciate God for the life of my husband. Because of the husband he has given to me, and both of us working together as one. Anything that I appreciate, and so also he appreciates me. I might not be doing much, but the little thing I'm also doing is appreciate. Thank you. Sometimes you will just wake me up and say, thank you for being my wife. And I will just start laughing, you know. Thank you for being there. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for believing in me. That is something. When you appreciate one another, I tell you, the best of that woman, that man will come. Will tell you, oh, you are a good wife. And I'll tell you, you are a good husband. We might not be there yet. We might not be where God actually wants us. But as we appreciate one another, the best in us will begin to show up. So husband and wife, appreciate one another. No matter what your husband have done, appreciate him. No matter what your wife have done, appreciate her. When you appreciate her, the best in your wife will come outside. You know, time is not always our friend. This is what we are going to draw the curtain today. But I want you to know that me and you stand for so many things. In me and you, we have Marriage Academy, where we train people, we teach people. Before you say I do, for those that have not married, and after you say I do. You are married and there's one issue or the other. We have the Marriage Academy, where we have marriage counselors, people that have been married for several years, 40 years, 42 years, 30-something years, and they are still moving on. They are the teachers. So by next month, September, they were going to, the class actually started a weekend program from Friday till on Sunday. And if you want to actually get to us, you can call this number so you can book an appointment. 080-2517-7239. When you call this number, we'll actually book you, or you have a seminar, or you have a program in your church, you want us to be there, myself and my husband. This is what we do. We come there and be able to share a thought with you, or what is the mind of God, so that your marriage can actually succeed. We also have a school. We have creche, from creche to secondary, for secondary school, and admission is actually in sales now, where 5% is actually given to those that are coming, because we know the situation of things now. When you come in, 5% will actually be given to, and is the Reigns Academy. All these things happen in a Reigns Center. Where we have the Marriage Academy is in the Reigns Center, Federal Housing Estate, Yanya. If you stay in Abuja, is in Yanya by Mopo Junction. Once you get there, is very, you get everything there in the Reigns Center. Marriage Academy, we have the school in that place still in Marriage Academy Center, and we have a fellowship there. You know, we have a fellowship there where we meet every Wednesday, Friday, Wednesday by 6 p.m. and on Friday 6 p.m. and on Sunday by 8 a.m. and it's called New World Assembly. That is where my husband, a pastor, New World Assembly, all in a race center in Abuja, Federal Housing Estate in Yanyang. So once you come there, and we also have books. There are so many books that my husband have written, you know, on marriages, on business, you know, so many. And you can also request for them. And we have our Facebook that is also on our Facebook, me and you, a Facebook, where you can get to us in that place whatsoever you want in that place. I want you to know that me and you family life love you. We want your marriage to succeed. We want you to get it right in your marriage. Marriage is everybody's business. I want you to know that one word from God is enough to change your life around. Until I see you again in our next edition, this is Pastor Mrs. Grace Asemota, and my husband is also saying, thank you for always listening to this program, you know, always sending text messages and everything to make sure that we move on. God bless you until I see you in our next edition. This is Pastor Grace Asemota. God bless you.
Message for you.